guys, this is my custom Daredevil. Now, the intro, little edit I put together with all the pictures I took of this guy, but I really wanted to go into depth about my custom Daredevil. If you follow me on TikTok, you know that I've been working with this guy for at least way before New Year's, and then I kept on working to this guy. So this is my custom Daredevil. Now, the reason why I made this figure is because, well, obviously I go through the reasoning why I made this custom. Mainly, it looks cool, it looks amazing, and it's way better than this armored thing we got from Hasbro. Basically, I love Daredevil's character. I watched the show. I haven't finished the show completely since it just got so boring for me, and then I rewatched it, and then I realized, dang, I just needed a seasoned mind to really get through all this. But Daredevil is an amazing character, and overall, I feel like he is very underplayed in certain medias, but I can't wait for Daredevil Born Again. That's about to be fire, man. But enough of me yapping and talking. Let's dive into what you need for this custom. This is what you're gonna need per se, and I'm gonna go over like the base, but this is all you really need for like everything else after you build and piece together the base of the figure. Now, well, Sharpie and all those things, but I'm gonna go over the base and what I used for the actual like body per se. So how I made this figure is I had to use a lot of pieces. So I used a lot of pieces from my old bin. All these figures are around like $4 or $5, like they're really cheap. And most of the figures' values have dropped drastically or whatever. So I needed to figure out a way to use these figures in a new way. And it started off with a rough sketch. The rough sketch, this. You've seen this on my TikTok, this is how I started off. And it looked pretty nice, right? I was gonna do it from scratch, but I realized I had a lot of leftover action figure pieces from past projects and past customs that didn't work out, or either figures that were just old and broken. So I wanted to use the pieces from those figures and from older customs I didn't need for, and basically put it together. So that's what I did. You take out the figure, you can see obviously a silhouette of the body. This is from a Lightning Collectibles Power Ranger figure. I think it was from the black one. I can't remember his name, not Black Ranger, but like I think it was a Black Ranger. I'll put a picture up right there. I used that body for my old custom Batman. I used the Lightning Collectibles all blank body because I was all black body. So like it was very hard to sand this torso down and make it like this bright candy red. And then you still see this little paint rub on the neck, and this actually isn't the original neck. This is like a mini epoxy putty to bulk up the rest of the body since I gave him bigger, bulkier arms and shoulders. The arms and shoulders, I'm going to go into the entire layout, the entire buck, you know, every last bit and piece, because this is a very complex like kit bash with a lot of different figures, and mostly it's Marvel Legends, but some of it's McFarlane and Lightning Collectibles. So the torso, the only Power Ranger parts from the Lightning Collectible figures in this custom is the, you know, the whole entire chest, the abdomen, the diaphragm, and the crotch and the hips right here. So that's all Power Ranger. I'll get into the sculpting bits and everything else, but the pouches as well. The pouches are from the Love and Thunder Star-Lord. The Love and Thunder Star-Lord strap over his design in Love and Thunder, like that little strap with the, with the coat jacket or whatever he had. I used the strap from that, cut it down, sanded it down, and made it into like a pouch. And it kind of like mimicked the design I think that the Mezco Daredevil had. And I also wanted to give him that little strap. Now it's a little paint rub right there, but like the strap instantly just pops into that area and just covers that up. So yeah. And plus, I'm going to be doing this guy in a lot of stop motion, so most of these pieces are going to be covered up with lighting and a bunch of other things. But overall, I feel like the custom came out really well. I'll get more into like the paint and everything, paint rub and all other stuff, and how I went around painting it. I know there's a little bit of fading around the lines of the chest there, but I feel like it turned out pretty good. But let's get back to the base though. The legs right here, the calves, not the calves to the ankle, not the feet or the legs. The calves to the ankle right here are actually from the Back in Black Deadpool on the Bucky Cap mode. This originally was a old Punisher figure or Punisher custom I made, but I didn't need a Punisher in my collection anymore because I'm going to wait and buy the newer one, or either the Mezco one or either the 2-pack one that they just came out with. That looks a lot better and it's probably more affordable than the Mezco one. So yeah, the legs and the feet are from the Doctor Strange figure, like the first edition one. And it was a lot of trial and error for the arms, though. The arms were the trickiest part, and I redid the arms so many times. First, the arms were, the original just straight up Bucky Cap mode arms, right? And I just sanded down the pegs from the shoulder pieces from the Bucky Cap mode. Okay, voiceover Quentin right here. So the original shoulders were actually from this one Build-A-Figure piece. I think that came with the Marvel Legends Blue Marvel Buck, and that was the original shoulders. So I broke those shoulders originally, and then I had to change them up and replace them with the McFarlane Azawa shoulders. The original shoulders did break off because I think I was handling them too much, and also the fact that they got really tight. Not really tight. Okay, the original shoulders, I feel like they were just too blank, and they just weren't enough. So I replaced them with a different shoulders, the Taskmaster shoulders. I like the design of these shoulders a lot more than the OG shoulders that I used for the first rendition, like you see in those original first couple pics I just showed a few minutes ago. Before I used the McFarlane shoulders, I used the Taskmaster shoulders, the Black Widow movie. So I used the Taskmaster shoulders for that, and also the biceps. And I spliced the bicep with the Bucky Cap mode biceps, actually, to make it look a little bit better, and also with the peg to fit into the shoulders, because the shoulder piece was a flat piece. If you see on the body, it's a flat piece. So I used that so it would fit more flush. And then the shoulders broke because of the earlier reason I said. That's how those shoulders broke. I messed with it too much, and also it got too tight. So I had to redo everything, and I had to figure out a new piece to use the shoulders, because I wasn't going to use the screw method and tried to mess up the shoulders even more. So I, used the McFarlane Azawa shoulders. Plus, I already used some pieces from the Azawa figure on this figure already, so it was no rush. Because the Azawa figure has already been used for scrap pieces off rip, so I had to use something. I had to use it to its full extent. So I used the shoulders from the Azawa figure, and it fit perfectly into the peg of the Taskmaster half bicep. So the peg from the Taskmaster figure on top of the Bucky Cap mode arms with the McFarlane shoulders worked really well. And I also did, with the whole splice, I used epoxy putty to clear everything up. You can kind of still see a little bit of it poking through, but I feel like I did a pretty good job overall. Besides that, that's all the arm mechanics. That's everything about the arms and how those work. They look a little wonky if you really look at them close. The left one looks a little bit more curved inwards. I didn't notice that before I looked over the, pretty much voiceover, but I think it did pretty. I think it did a pretty decent job overall. What else did I miss? I didn't miss anything else, I don't think. Oh yeah, another part I got from the Azawa figure was the pouches on the back of the belt, and I thought this turned out pretty well. Same thing, the design from the Thor: Love and Thunder Thor: Love and Thunder Star-Lord turned out really good, low key. And the rest of those like little pieces right here, little plastic pieces right here and here, are just pieces from that coat that Star-Lord had in Thor: Love and Thunder's design of him, or a cameo of him. The head sculpt is from NNB Head Sculpt. I got this off of AliExpress, and it turned out really good, low key. I think my paint job of it turned out pretty decent. I feel like the skin tone is not as dark as most of the other like Marvel Legends head tones, because it's a little bit light compared to this Daredevil head, and also the only other Matt Murdock head sculpt I have is a little bit white. I tried to brush it with a little bit of red to try to have it a flesh, more natural tone, but it didn't turn out the best it could have been. I dry brushed it a little bit with some red. It just looks like he has some sort of disease. It looks like he has something on his lips. Hell no, something he gets with some pink, and try to make it a little bit more flesh-like. Try to clean up those markers. All this marker design, all this stuff is actually sealed in with a Tamara clear spray. So I feel like it turned out pretty good. A lot of paint rub on the nick, because the nick actually is off of a wire. So I couldn't find a figure with a nice neck joint. Plus, I didn't want to risk breaking apart the upper body of this Power Ranger collectible figure. So future Quentin right here, this right after, this is like me editing it. I saw this build of piece. This is the old figure my sister got me, McFarlane. I don't collect McFarlanes most of the time. I just use them as spare parts. Like I said earlier, the McFarlane Zawa, use that as spare parts. Same thing for my Daredevil Custom. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna take the neck joint, like the bulge right here, and put it onto my Marvel Legend and my custom Daredevil, and I think that might work out pretty well. And just like absolutely like trying to rip this guy apart, but it's a lot of paint rub on the neck. I might re-sand down the neck and repaint it again. Try to get rid of paint rub. Try to get a more stronger, clear coat to try to make it more durable. But like, dang, it's a lot of paint rub on the neck. But I feel like with some good posing, you could probably cover that up in some photography pictures. I do toy photography and maybe some stop motion. So yeah, I feel like it's alright. It's alright. But I feel like I did the head sculpt pretty well. Originally, I wasn't going to do no black lining or panel lining or anything like that in the grooves or the detail of the head. I was just going to do a blank, just red helmet, try to match the flesh tone and white eyes. But I feel like that worked. I feel like the lining just added the oomph I needed for this figure. Besides that, all the mill epoxy sculpted pieces, like the double D, is me. All like the traps right here, this is all mill epoxy sculpt. Even this as well. All this is mill epoxy sculpt. All of the neck, everything like this, all this is mill epoxy. I did use a little bit of extra plastic from other figures, the pit on top of the neck to make it a little longer and a little bit more durable, and just start sanding it down to make it look more like organic. So that's how I made the neck stump. And yeah. What else did I use? Oh yeah, the gloves. So I made like a glove crease. So yeah, I loved the glove design of Daredevil. So I did like a glove crease. I know up close it looks kind of like a brownish, but I did mix it up with like some black and some red. And I try to make it into like a darkish like maroon red, like a burgundy basically. Besides that, the belts, the pouches, all this stuff, this is all just plastic. This isn't sculpted. None of the belt is sculpted. It's just plastic put together with super glue, with Gorilla Glue. So yeah. What else? The pouch right here, obviously it's sculpted, super glued to the pouch. And this is actually the original belt on the torso of the Lightning Collectible Lightning Collectible Power Ranger, because the pouch right here, right? This is like a built, like this piece right here. If you have Lightning Collectible figures, you know the belt pieces on those figures are sculpted into the hips to make it look more flesh, right? But I took the belt off, put it here to make the strap for the thing right here, right? And then the smaller one is a mill epoxy putty, and I feel like it turned out really well with the lower and it becoming smaller as you go down. I feel like the kneecaps, mill epoxy sculpted as well. But yeah, I feel like this turned out really well. And I sculpted in the hips, like the gap the belt leaves behind when you take off the belt. I sculpted that in with mill epoxy putty, and that turned out really well. And I think I sculpted in most of the pegs to make it look pegless. I think I might go back and make the legs pegless, but honestly, it doesn't really matter that much. I'm not a big fan of the pegless or peg joints. I don't really care as long as the figure looks cohesive and good. The paint rub, like I said earlier, I feel like I did an okay job for my first time trying to work with like a bunch of different parts and trying to paint over a lot of black, since the figure was mainly black and dark blue. Like, there's a lot of painting, a lot of coats of paint on top of this figure, and it's a lot of weighting, and you can still kind of see the black showing through. Like, it was a lot of coats I had to go through, and I am going to invest in a dry brush or like a paintbrush, not paintbrush, but a paint blower. I don't know what it's called. You put the liquid paint at the top and you spray sculpted on this figure. So that's how I made the figure. I think you already see all the product I used for the figure. I used this clear coat. I used apple barrel paint. I'm going to invest in a lot more durable paint, since this paint is actually cracked when it comes to painting customs. Low key, this paint is super cheap, like incredibly sticky when it is dry. So this really helped and made it feel a lot more premium, I guess, or a lot more durable. It made it a lot more durable. If I didn't coat it with this, it would be flaking literally everywhere right now. Super good, super detailed, and overall, I did a pretty good job. In my opinion, if you go down in the comments, did I do a good job? Did I yak too much in the video? Low-key, the video might be cut down and voiced over by future me, but yeah. Speaking of future, let's go over the scaling. If you decide to do this figure yourself and try to, fix parts where I failed in, you can go and see how tall this figure is. So let's put him next to the CT Toys Brown Suit Wolverine. Pretty good scale. I'm pretty sure Daredevil is taller than Wolverine, or comic book Wolverine. Is the, I think, I don't remember, I'll put up the brand of this arm man, but this arm is pretty good. The drop down hips are down, so it adds a little bit of oomph to him, so I want him to be around the same height, or if taller than Daredevil, because Armin is supposed to be shorter than Daredevil. Daredevil is not that tall, but yeah, let's just take this guy out. I was gonna do a review on this guy, but like, go on my TikTok to see a review on that guy. Let's put him next to Spider-Man, and this is the Marvel Legends Spider-Man. I already ordered the SH Figure Arts new red and blue suit Spider-Man. That's coming in the way. I am so pumped for that figure, and you'll be seeing a lot of content with that guy. Another street tier character. Yeah, pretty good scaling, I think. Pretty decent scaling. With any money, I will be buying that 2-pack of Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Or at least trying to find the Luke Cage by himself. Because I do need a new Luke Cage on my shelf. And I really do want to just go on a second. If anybody is selling just the Luke Cage for the 2-pack and not the Iron Fist, please hit me up. Like, please. If you live in Texas, please hit me up. We got the older, Iron Fist, and I thought it was pretty good scaling. I like my Iron Fist to be a little bit more like muscular, but not like super tall, pretty decent average height. And I feel like it's a little, it's them the Amazing Fantasies, but I really need them to do this same suit design on that body. But yeah, I feel like it's pretty good scaling, yeah. A little taller. I feel pretty good scaling. It goes to a big dude, a big boy, big dog. We got him next to Thanos, and pretty good scaling. He isn't super tall, but at the same time, Thanos should be like towering over most of these guys. But I think I did a pretty decent job with all the pieces I used for this figure, and painting over all that black. It's still gonna be a lot of paint rub, but I'm probably gonna in the future, if I learn a little more tricks about paint rub, probably gonna take apart this entire figure and just try to sand everything down and fix all the pieces I messed up on. Also, sorry if I'm a little bit late. The elbow pads are actually from the Taskmaster figure. It's so many pieces I used for this figure that I kind of just lost track of. But hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys like, subscribe, and as always, guys, have a blessed day. Deuces.